Hey guys, City here with another video. This time I'll be doing my second Legend Rider ring update for Kamen Rider Wizard. So this is where I'll be taking a look at what Legend Rider rings I've picked up recently. So this time I have 7 rings. I've got a ring for Kuuga, Agito, Faiz, Blade, Hibiki, Kabuto, and Kiva. So for this video, I'll take a look at each ring, show it off with the wizard driver, and move on to the next one. So we're going to start off with the Kuuga ring. This is for Kuuga in his might form as signified by the red eyes. So being the first Heisei Kamen Rider, Kuuga has a very simple helmet design. Very simple round eyes. A helmet crest that is similar to stag beetle horns, and insect-like mandibles for the mouthplate, as well as a red forehead gem. I'm gonna move this back a little bit, just so that it doesn't accidentally pick up any of the other ring signals. And so there you had the standby sound for mighty form. Next up is the Agito ring. This is for his grand form, though unlike Kuuga, his eyes don't change when he changes between any of his 3 default forms or his first power-up Trinity form. So because Agito was meant to be a spiritual successor to Agito, or to Kuuga, Agito has a very similar helmet design to Kuuga. His eyes are also red, but it's a darker red similar to the color of the Meteor Ring's eyes. Now one thing interesting to note is that normally his head crest is just these 2 horns, and these fins on the side only extend out when he uses his rider kick, and it's like that they add that detail into the ring to give it a bit of flavor. You also have a layered mouth plate down here. As while they do look similar, Agito was more meant to be based on a dragon as opposed to a stag beetle. And you also have a painted blue forehead gem. And so there you had the standby sound for ground form. Next up is Faiz. And the unfortunate thing about these is that they don't have much balance to them. So knocking over one will knock over the rest of them. As I was saying, next up is Faiz. This is of his normal form. It has a very distinct helmet shape as the eyes are very large and are 2 semicircles that if you take out this middle part would form a full circle. Though the eyepiece is also meant to look like the Greek letter Phi, as that is part of what Faiz's name is based on. Another thing being Faiz being a kind of a loose way of saying fives, as his henshin code is 555. And so, looking at the eyes, you can see this layered pattern to them with these circular ridges on the inside, and this is very much accurate to how he looks in the show. Those have a lot of technological details running down the center, a couple of antenna up top, and the green forehead gem, although it's hard to call it a forehead gem when it's between his eyes. Now, while design-wise a lot of the head kind of takes element of a firefly, the mouthpiece is very much based on shark teeth, giving a menacing look. and bring back in the wizard driver. And so you could hear the beeps for pressing 555 on the Faiz phone. Although I do think that I do believe that there is a standby sound for the Faiz phone itself. Next up is the Blade Ring. This is for its ace form. And this is one of the more detailed of the Legend Rider rings. It has more ovular or oval eyes to it. And a lot of molded detail. You can see all these different ridges and indents to them. As Blades is based off a Hercules beetle. You've got an insect-like mouthpiece. And up here you can actually see two different spades. One is this large spade made up of these different sections, and then a smaller spade making up the tip of the horn. So that was the sound of when his buckle clicks into place. Not the full standby sound. Next up is Hibiki. This is, of course, of his normal form. And this one is distinct because it doesn't have quite as much paint, as most of it is made up of this translucent purple plastic. And it gives it a very distinct look. You can see these different painted silver lines, a couple of fangs down here, and then one of the most distinct details is this molded in golden Oni face. You can see molded in feathers / hairs. You've got eyes, nose, and a mouth, all very well detailed. And of course his own 2 Oni horns. So that's the start of his standby sound, and an interesting thing to note is that the Hibiki ring has a white light inside of it instead of a purple light, because I guess they couldn't make a purple light. Next up is Kabuto. This is of his rider form. They've got nice light blue eyes. The Kabuto horn up here. That splits up into two sections and has a little bit of molded detail. Though it's a bit thicker than it should be, but that's probably so it doesn't break off easily. Have the hinge for when it changes from masked form to rider form. And what looks like little fangs in there, but overall it's a rather simple helmet design, at least from the front. And so that's the sound for his henshin when it turns into masked form. And finally is Kiva. Now this was labeled as the Dogabaki form ring, but that's only for the sake of Ganbaride. Appearance wise, it's the same it's basically the ring that can be applied to Kiva form or Dogabaki form, as that the head shape is the same and they have the same color of eyes. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the Kiva form ring. So like Faiz, he also has very large eyepieces to it, rather bat-like, but also kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. See nice molded detail for his own head crest, and a very small green forehead gem. Even has a couple of details here to make it look like vampire fangs. watch it one last time. And so there you had Kiva's standby sound. And so with these, I have met my goal for rider rings, which is to have the base form ring for every Heisei rider before Wizard. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting others. I already have at least one Showa rider ring. And besides saying their different names, they make the same sound, which is just the Rida, Rida, Rida. And with the exception of the Meteor ring, rings for secondary riders all just say Kamen Rider. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting those, but if I do get more, I'm going to wait until I get, another good batch of them, until I do another update. Still, I appreciate these a lot. They're very stylistically good looking. And they do put a lot of effort into replicating these rider helmets. But of course, these are optional. If you want to hear, these different rider belt sounds out of your Wizard driver or hear their names, then sure, pick them up. And, if the base form doesn't suit you, there have been other forms for each rider released. They haven't released every form for every rider. That's probably going to take a little bit of a while. But, if you want, say, a different form of Kuuga, you can get that. And they've even released final forms for some riders, so if that's what you like, you can go ahead and get that. But the thing to know is that with each ring for each rider, it'll make the same sound. So for example, a dragon form or Pegasus form ring for Kuuga will make the same Mighty form standby. But of course, it will have the respective eye color and light color to match. So, these are still really cool, and if you want them, pick them up. They're easy to find and inexpensive. So, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. And for now, this is Character50, writing off.